And I got taken advantage of a lot when I was new in business. They would, contracts, right? There's the whole, let me shake your hand and word is bond and I'll be your best friend. And then they'll turn around and screw you on the contract.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Seven Figure Journey podcast, where we will be discussing the struggles and lessons learned along the way of a seven-figure entrepreneur. It's my great pleasure to welcome our guest today, Korey, with HHC Services LLC. Korey, welcome to the call.
Hey, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate it for having me on.
You bet. We're excited to learn a little bit more about you and about your company. And without further ado, let's just jump right in. So, Korey, as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, please share with us your story. Where did you start from? Where have you gotten to? And maybe share a few key lessons learned along the way.
Cool. So I started off as a technician in the HVAC industry. And I loved doing what I was doing at the time. I loved being a technician. I was a teacher at night at a local trade school. And everything was going great. And if anybody that's on here that's an entrepreneur, we get to this jump off point that my mentor always talks about. And I'd been the great technician. I'd been the great service manager. I'd been the great instructor. So I took the leap and started my own business. It's wildly different than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be me in a truck with another guy, and we were going to roll around and install mini splits and AC systems at people's houses. The first year, I think I did maybe 4 residential jobs, and the rest were larger scale commercial customers. A few people had heard of me through friends, and I started off in the industrial commercial section, right? Working on boilers and chillers. Okay. And to get into those types of contracts, it's really hard. You have to have like crazy insurance, and you got to have an office, and you got to have technicians out the yin yang. And so I just never thought I would be able to break into that sector this early in my career. And so the first year I got very lucky. I got into a few of the contracts, and it wasn't about getting paid. It was about how many technicians can you hurry up and get on board so we can use you at all our facilities. Wow. They liked my service. I didn't have a CRM. I didn't have QuickBooks. I had nothing. I was literally building the plane in flight, right? I had one service vehicle, which I bought a truck, and it wasn't a service vehicle. It was just a truck. So then I had to go out and coming into being a business owner, I wish I would have learned more about financing and business and everything, right? I was a great technician. I wasn't a great business person. And so I had to go buy 2 vans. So I went and bought 2 vans. And then I had to buy another 2 vans. And then Ford was like, hey, you're kind of maxed out right now. And I'm like, okay. So then I had to go buy 2 vans from Mercedes. And it just kept growing and snowballing and snowballing. And then my customer was like, hey, can you help us in Nevada? And I was like, sure. So I went and got licensed in Nevada. And then they're like, hey, can you help us in Arizona? And I was like, sure. I went and got licensed in Arizona. Wow. Hey, can you help us in Idaho? So I went and got licensed in Idaho. Hey, can you help us in Washington? And it just kept growing and growing. And along the way, I was on LinkedIn and I found a mentor. He didn't know it yet, but I was basically hunting. And I found him. I wrote him a message, and he wrote me back in I think it was 30 minutes. And he goes, do you have time for a phone call? And I was like, sure. And that's when my real journey to being an entrepreneur really started. I wasn't a technician. I moved out of the field. And I just had these conversations with him. And the way it started was, my butt is falling off and I need help. I don't know what I'm doing on this side. And he's a vice president for a bunch of Fortune 500 companies. Okay. EBITDAs and quarterly returns. And it just opened me to a world that I didn't know yet. And he invited me to networking events. He invited me to all these things, like show up, be here at this time, you'll meet great people. Okay. And so I started doing that. And that's when I feel my business kind of started to kick off in another way, because we had enough work I had the technicians. It was just a bunch of technicians, though. It wasn't
Right.
a business. And so after that, I hired admins to do my bookkeeping because I would go work all day, come home at night, type up all my quotes, my invoices, and send them off. And, working 18, 20 hours sometimes. And then, of course, I'd get all the invoices in a day late because it was supposed to close on this funding day. And I couldn't keep up with this. And it was just a nightmare. And so I got my admins, and then I got my project managers, and then I got my managers. So like I started the like completely the wrong way. But I learned a lot. I
Yep.
started reading a lot of business books and listening to a lot of podcasts with like entrepreneurs or successful CEOs. That's the one of the hardest things for me now is my business card says CEO founder. Makes me want to puke in my mouth. You know, like I know where I came from. To
Right.
put CEO and founder is just like, ugh, gosh, how egocentric. But it's been really good to know the business has grown into this well-oiled machine. I have two office admin that kick butt and take names. Right? I could not be here today, not do anything, and those girls will run the business the exact same way I would. My project managers the same way. They have the same moral compass I do. Right? They always call me and be like, "Hey, is this okay?" And I'm like, "What do you think?" Well, yeah, I think it's good. Okay, then I think you're right. And it's not all fairy tales and sweet candy. We have
Right.
had a lot of issues, and especially being in construction, uh, some things aren't right all the time, and sometimes it's our fault, and sometimes it's not. And I got taken advantage of a lot when I was new in business. They would, you know, contracts, right? There's the whole let me shake your hand and word is bond and I'll be your best friend. And then they'll turn around and screw you on the contract. And so I've really had to hire those people that are contract minded and put them in those positions because I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I have the sharpest tools in the shed working for me.
There you go.
And, they are brutal. And that's just another learning experience that I had to go through, and growing. And a friend the other day said it the other day. I've paid a lot of dumb tax on the way to get to where I am. Right. And he said that, and my mind just went bing, 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 bing. Oh, dumb tax. That's what I've been paying. That's what I've been paying is the dumb tax. Oh,
Like,
perfect. And so I've paid a lot of dumb tax, a lot of dumb tax, but it's got me to where I'm at, and it's helped me really refine the hiring process that we have because of paying the dumb tax. And I've talked to young people all the time or people just starting a business, and they come to me and they go, "Oh, I don't have my website. I don't have this. I don't have that." Um, I'm like, "Do you have the license?" Well, yeah. Okay. Don't worry about the website. You know what I mean? Word of mouth is what we go off of. I wouldn't say marketing. We've sponsored little league teams, given some grants, or I wouldn't say grants, but like scholarships to
yep.
some kids to go through school. So that might be like, I guess if you classify it as some marketing, but we never put our name on it. The baseball team, they put our banner up, but I've never paid for Google ads. I've never paid for anything like that. It's all word of mouth. And so people that are starting companies that come in, oh, here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that. Okay, why haven't you started? And they're like, well, I don't want to make a mistake. It's okay. We all make mistakes.
Yep.
Just don't go bet the house on the roulette table all on black. We'll be good. And man, it's been a crazy ride. Like I'm 34 years old. I started the business when I was about 29.
Wow.
Yeah, and um, we've grown to about 56 employees. We have done in the past year, this year we're projected to hit about 11 million in sales. And last year we did, I think it was 7 million.
Nice.
And the year before that, we did about 6 million. So in the first year, we did 500,000. The second year, we did a million. And ever since that, we've just been constantly, just gaining, gaining, gaining. And if you do the right things, the money follows. And going back to those things where I've made mistakes and I've had to go back multiple times, oh, they don't like it this way. Okay. I didn't put in the contract that, hey, we do it once. It's not our fault. If you guys don't like the way it looks in the sun facing this way, well, you didn't put this in the contract, so you have to come back and do it. And we went back and did it because it was the right thing to do. And other contractors and owners see and they go, wow, you guys did that, even though we would have fought it. And it's
Right.
like, yeah, no, we went back and took care of it. They're like, that's kind of cool. And so, yeah, it's been pretty crazy. It's been a pretty crazy ride.
Awesome. No, it sounds like it. Thanks so much for sharing, Korey. That's fantastic. I love your intentionality around, you know what? It's okay that I'm not always going to get it right. I just have to go out and I have to do it. I love that you called that out and said, hey, everybody listen up. Just get started.
Yeah.
Put the foot in front of the other one and just start doing something, because you never know if it's going to fail, succeed, whatever until you do that.
Yeah.
And I also love your attitude around, but you know what? It's not really failing. It's just paying that dumb tax, right? I'm learning a lesson so that I can be better at it the next time.
Yep, exactly. Only thing I haven't failed at, knock on wood, is I was smart and I hired an accountant the first year and a CPA. That was the best investment that I ever made. That was the best thing I ever did, was hire an accountant and a CPA the first year, because I read books that said business can be doing great until the tax time comes. And then you lose everything. So that was probably the best first hire that I ever made, was hiring a CPA and my accountant.
Yeah, no, I love that. And like what you said, you were really good at being a technician.
Yeah.
You learned everything about it and you were really passionate and really good at it. You're like, you know what? I'm going to go do my own business.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that you know the ins and outs of everything in the business. But I love one thing that you said, and I hope those who are listening paid attention. You were very intentional in saying, hey, look, I don't know all the answers, but I've surrounded myself with the people that do.
Correct.
So I love that, because too often we think, oh, well, but I'm the owner, I'm the founder. I have to know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have to know it. No, you don't.
Yeah.
A good leader doesn't have all the answers.
Yeah.
But they're willing to listen to the right one when they hear it.
And it was Steve Jobs that I think it was, I don't know, I saw it on Instagram and it was like insightful. But
love it.
We hire smart people to do smart things, and I'm not a micromanager. I've never been into like, where's my daily reports? Where's that memo? Has it came out yet? So I hire people with the same moral compass as that, like I have. Mm-hmm. And I give them a company credit card. They have a company vehicle. They, they have all these things. Why would you hire somebody you couldn't trust,
right,
to carry out your deeds, right? And I'm telling you, like, we have a group chat, and like we have an office group chat, and then we have a technicians group chat, and then we have an all together group chat. It's confusing to me, but I guess there's organization into it. I don't know. It's confusing. But I just get on the group chat and I'll just look and I'm like, dang, these guys are plugging away. It's 8:00 in the morning and they're like going at each other, not going at each other, but like, I'm on this quote, I'm on that quote, I'm sending this invoice, they're sending this invoice, got call back from this person, I'm going to follow up with that person. And we all work basically 100% remote, like all the office staff. And a couple people have kids, people have to go to the doctors, like nobody, I'm not like, hey, you need to call me when you're not going to be in front of your computer for 10 hours. We had a guy the other day go to the doctor's, and I called him, and he's like, "Hey, I'm at the doctor's." I'm like, "All right, perfect. Call me when you get out." And that flexibility and trust like gives a lot to your people, I feel. And the people with kids, like Anna, she has some kids. She has three, and like it's the start of a school year. But that girl will work on a Saturday and a Sunday. She will give everything she has to the company. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, Anna, it's 9 o'clock at night. I think we're good. Like, it's going to be there in the morning. And she's like, yeah, but like I really want to make sure we're caught up on this. Anna, it's going to be there in the morning, and one of my other friends, David Fenton, he owns Thermaclear. He always tells me QTR, quality time remaining. And so like I try and always kind of like focus on that and not push, because I get hyped up. I love seeing everybody like hard charging. I'm like, yeah, let's go, yeah, 16 hours, let's go, let's do this. And I have to remember, hey, slow down. We're gonna gas out. Everybody just needs to take a step back. And becoming a leader, I've had to learn to not get involved in the fray or the whitewash, like what I like to call it, like when a wave breaks in the ocean.
Mhm.
Don't get involved in the whitewash. Stay on the outside, stay on the out and watch, and then when somebody waves for help, come in. Don't be there pestering. Don't be, what are you guys working on over there?
Right.
You guys doing it the way I want it? You know, just
Yeah.
hang out on the back. And when they need help, if you've trained them right, they'll put their hand up and ask for help. And hopefully I know the answer. But if not, we can ask ChatGPT.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah, no, love that. Love the intentionality around saying, hey, you know what? I took my time. I was cautious. I was careful on hiring you.
Yeah,
So now I'm going to trust you to do what I hired you to do.
exactly.
Right? Yeah, no, love
Exactly.
that. Cool. Way cool. Korey, thank you so much. That's awesome. Just love what the culture that you've developed. I can tell that you're very passionate about this next step as you engaged with that mentor online, and then you really owned that transition from being a doer to being a leader. As you evolved out of the company instead of working in the company and started working on the company, and based on what you're saying and your enthusiasm around it, you really have just grabbed hold of that and ran with it. So congratulations to you. That's fantastic. A lot of people struggle with that in
Yeah.
business. Um, Too often I see people, they've built this fantastic company. They've gotten themselves really busy. They've built a team, and then they're their bottleneck because they don't want to let go of anything. They want to hold on to it. And they're like, yeah, but this is my baby. I created this. This is mine.
Yeah.
And I get that, but you have to. You have to start letting go. You have to
Oh,
allow the people that you trained, that you hired, that you brought in to do what you hired them to do so that
yeah.
you can continue to see the growth that you want so that you're not getting in your own way.
Yeah.
Right.
And it
So,
hurts. It hurts the first couple times. Feels like they're stabbing you right in the heart when they're criticizing what you built. And it's not that they're criticizing, but they're critiquing it.
right.
And you just want to cry. You're like, I thought that was good.
Right.
My poor little baby. And, the technicians, anytime they try and mess with my techs, I'm like, no, those are my technicians. And they're like, no, they're not. They're ours. I'm like, damn. All right, you're right. you know and they're like my sacred cows. I like to, like they're my sacred cows. I like to go spend as much time with them as I can. When we hire a new technician, I love to go pal around with them in the truck,
There you go.
because now it's to the point where I don't even get to talk to the people that we hire. Like it comes across my desk, well, my desk,
Right.
um, and I get to, hey, he's gonna looks like a good technician. I may have a phone call with him, I may not. But when I finally get to go pal up and ride around with them, I just get to sit there and I get to see, like, we have this new kid, Gary, and man, he's 21 years old. He was born in 2000 and And I'm just like, and I let them always drive. I never drive when I'm with them. I let them drive. I want to see their critical thinking skills. And I could be like, "Ooh, come down. No, we're not going to go there." Um, but we're sitting there and we're driving, and he's just talking about some AC stuff, and I was like, "Yeah, back in my day," and he's like, "Back in your day?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting old. These kids are killing me, man." And so it's just so cool to see the new younger generation coming up, and getting to be a part of that really makes me happy. That's why I started the business. Like, I like being surrounded with the guys and gals. We have some female technicians as well, and just seeing them learn and grasp and grow.
Right.
It's so cool. It's really cool.
Very cool. Well, I love that. I hope those who are listening in paid attention to that. That if you do the things that you need to do, you start to trust in your team, let them do what you hired them to do. You start letting go of some of those things so you can continue working on the business. You can get to a point where you can do that. You now can afford the opportunity to go and spend a few minutes with your new hire, learn about them.
Yeah.
Love that. Love the
Yeah.
intentionality around that. All right, well, Korey, we're going to switch gears just a little bit here.
Okay.
As you continue to build your team and your business, and it sounds like you're doing a fantastic job, um, and you're striving to continue to be this leader that you want to be, and you're growing and developing the rest of your team, what's something that you're dealing with right now, real time, that we can have a conversation about?
Keeping culture.
Okay.
Um, I attribute hiring a new person to selling a piece of the culture's soul, right? Because we started as the magnificent two, the magnificent three, the four, and now we're growing and growing. So we have meetings once a week with the technicians, 3 meetings a week with managers, project managers. And, I have friends that have other companies, and, like, I get to see a lot. But with keeping with the culture is not the rah rah, let's go out there, everybody kick butt, take names. It's my the way I grew up. I grew up in a family company in the beginning, and it was nobody got to go home till the last guy got done,
Ah,
right? Because if a guy's on call and he's by himself and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, that's not fair,
right.
at least to me. And that's how, like, I've tried to build the culture. So making sure the other technicians coming in are creating that value bond with each other, that they're not going to leave one another behind. Oh, it's 5 o'clock, I'm out. It's we're not trying to build that type of culture.
Right.
And our culture is no man left behind, no technician left out in the cold.
Right.
If a technician's out in the field, somebody in the office needs to be available. So it's 2 o'clock in the morning and Thomas is out in the field. Somebody has to be there to answer the phone if he calls and he needs a part house opened up. And so I drive that home a lot more. Like, I'll purposely put myself on call to make sure that, hey, okay, I ran a call. It's 1:30 in the morning. I'm going to call Anna. I'm going to call Leonard. I'm going to call Sefa. I'm going to see who's up. I want to just test, right? And making sure they understand from a management level down is that it's not about us that sit at home and click on the keyboards. It's about the guys in the field
Right.
and the women in the field, right? That are working and relying on us. It's not a one part rules all, it's equal, it's mesh. Just because they can't do what we do in the office, and that the guys and gals in the office can't do what they do in the field, doesn't mean we're all a team. And so, kind of mending that culture where we're all one together. We can't do anything separate. It's either all of us together or none.
Yeah.
And so, trying to create that culture and make sure it stays here with every new hire and every new customer. That's the hard part. Is there's such thing as having too many customers and spending 99% of your time on a client that gives you 5% of the money.
Right.
You're focusing on your problem childs. It's not good. And so like trying to captivate that spirit of making sure the technicians are working well with the office staff, right? Because they can't submit an invoice unless their notes and photos are in.
Right.
But you call the technician and go, hey, where's your pictures and photos? Oh, okay, I'll get them to you. And then the technician's, oh my God, dude, she's always calling me, bugging me for my pictures and my photos. And it's right there where it's a coaching moment.
Yeah.
Hey, this is why I'm calling you all the time for the pictures and photos. We have 72 hours to invoice for what the work you did. And if we don't get the pictures and the notes and everything, we don't get paid. And if we don't get paid, then we lose out on X dollar amount. It goes into the next job. It creates a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And when you're running 70 to 80 calls a day, that snowball effect can really, really go bad quickly. And we might be sitting at bankruptcy court and selling all the vans if you don't send me your picture and notes. Now, A, it's not that dramatic, but that's what it comes down to at the end of the line. And so them getting that clarification as a technician, hey, this is why we have 72 hours to bill. That's why I really call and bug you, because we're like 16 hours before we have to get this closed out. And if I don't, I have to put this on the report, and the report goes to Korey, and then we both have to talk to him. And,
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Exactly. No, I love that. So here at Elite, we like to teach this concept of the elite leadership model. So as a leader, you have 3 jobs, really. Set the vision, build the team, and deliver results. Now, when we think of vision, we think of 3 things. So vision is purpose, why we do what we do, values, who we are and how we show up.
Yep.
So like you talked about, letting them understand that they have this moral compass and that we're aligned on a moral compass. So we view that as your values. And then a mission. Mission is this destination. Hey, we're going to go and accomplish this thing. We're going to get very clear on what it is, and we're going to get there in 3, 4, or 5 years, and we're going to put a date on it of when we're going to get there. And then that's going to create that clarity and alignment, so we're all working towards one thing. So as a leader, it's your job to constantly be talking about your purpose and your values. And, hey, we're going to go reach this destination. You're going to build the team, right? And it sounds like you're doing a fantastic job of that. You're bringing in the right people. Then you're taking these little opportunities as a coaching moment. Let's help you understand why that's crucial and important, and why that thing that takes you a few seconds, you feel like it's a burden, really is important for the other side, for them to finish up the deal. Because if you go out and work your butt off and we don't get paid, you're wasting your time and energy, and we're all suffering from it, right? Mm-hmm. So taking those opportunities to coach, and then delivering results. And delivering results, that's where you have this opportunity to go out and you work on the business to continue to provide the opportunity for them to be in the right business at the right time. So you're getting the right profit margins, so that you're not killing your guys off and not making any money, right? You have the ability to do that. And then all of that is centered with this concept of care. You've got to care about the purpose, and we got to care about the individual. And that kind of ties it all together. And as I listen to you talk about how you're, mitigating and working through this idea of, hey, I got to keep this culture as we continue to grow. We started small, but as we expand, I don't want to lose that. That's what I think of is as a leader, as long as you're caring about those things, caring about your purpose, caring about the individuals, you're setting that vision, building the team, delivering those results, and then training your next level management to do the same, so that it cascades down from the top down, like you described. Then everybody's now bought in on this, and they're like, yeah, wow, this culture thing's really important. They really do care about their vision. They really do care about all of us. And wow, this is awesome, because we have this camaraderie, and we're all willing to give our discretionary effort to one another and to the company, because it's more than just getting a paycheck. We're going out and accomplishing something, and this is really cool. So love that. Love your intentionality around what you're doing, and more importantly, the why behind it. Why you're doing the things that you're doing in place to ensure this future for your company as you continue to grow. So congratulations.
Have you read Traction by Gino Wickman?
Uh,
Yeah, great book. Great book. Fantastic. When you were talking right now, you just were talking about like the focusing in on bringing in the mission in, and I just thought about when they're at the plant and
yep.
their uh, shift A did so many steel stamps, and he wrote it down, and they went in behind, and they're like, shift A did this? No, we're gonna kick their butt.
Yep.
Then B kicked their butt, and just created that thing, and just team I think is the hardest. Like I always get jealous of people who started what is that, the drop shipping business,
Oh yeah.
and they got to automate it, and then they go work from the Bahamas, and they look at their phone 4 times a day. They're like, oh, oh wow, I'm a billionaire. Like
Right.
I've always been jealous of those people, but it's it's so rewarding to be in like a service business
Yeah.
like I am. The people that I've met, just like I go to a lot of networking events, I go to a lot of conventions, a lot of trade shows, so I get to see like the new latest and greatest. And I was getting my computer set up for this, and I have a stack of business cards, which I think are stupid. I hate business cards. Um, and I have a stack of these business cards, and it's from all the events that I go to. And I was reading through these people's titles, and I'm just like, okay, 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 okay. And it's so crazy to see the amount of people that are involved in our industry and just heating and air and service, just the amount of people that are involved in making a change in the world,
Yeah.
or in our little world, right? Our little HVAC bubble. And like the payroll service company that we use, it's like we use ADP for our payroll. They're great. I love them. But just those little things that you learn as a business owner when you first come out, like everybody's like, oh, use QuickBooks. And you're like, okay, you try QuickBooks. And then your CRM and all these platforms.
Right.
And before we get off it, if anybody ever, ever, ever needs to get a CRM, do as many demos as you possibly can.
Right.
Do as many demos. And if you think you're only going to have 5 technicians or cleaners or whatever it is, plan on having 50. Don't buy the $20 price per technician or whatever. Plan on having 50. Because if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in business, and pick up your phone when people call, keep the 50 in the CRM. That was one of my hugest downfalls. I spent, I think, $22,000 my first year on a CRM, and then we outgrew it in the first year.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that dumb tax, yeah,
Yep.
paid
Yep.
it good and full.
Yeah. No, I love that. Thank you for that insight, and I hope those who are listening paid attention. Guys, do your homework. There's so many very specific CRMs out there that are case specific to certain things, and so you've got to right size it and right fit it for you. And I love your suggestion there of you're gonna grow. I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't start the business to stay stagnant. You're planning on growing. Plan for that.
Mm-hmm.
Save yourself the headache and hassle when you're doing that. I love that. Well, Korey, again, thank you so much for being on the call today. This has just been fantastic conversation. Loved learning about you. Love your intentionality around building your team, keeping that culture, continuing to go out and change the world one job at a time, one house at a time, one business at a time, as you utilize your expertise in the HVAC world to help create a comfortable setting for them. As you go and you do these jobs. Well, for those of you listening in, if you just love what Korey's doing and you want to reach out to him and his company, Korey, what's the best way that they can reach you?
Go on LinkedIn and look up HHC Services LLC. I'm on there. Just click on me, send me a DM. That's the best way. I don't have any other social media. So that's the best way to find me is LinkedIn. And if you message me, I'll get back to you within 24 hours.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, you heard him, guys. Go out there, reach out. He's going to take care of you, and he's going to do the job right. And guess what? The whole team's, they're going to be out there until it's done.
Well, and our tagline is What this took me months and months to find is we're small enough to listen, but big enough to deliver,
Love it.
right? And growing with the company, I think that's really important is you listen to your customers and people in the service industry schedule. If you get year contracts, I don't know why other companies don't do this. We all have quarterly meetings, have quarterly checkup meetings with your customer, schedule with your customer to go over, hey, how are we doing on this contract? You guys like the service pro so far? Are we parking okay? Our technicians up to your standard? It really will mitigate losing contracts and that customer retention, because they're bigger customer or bigger companies, I should say. They plan on losing a certain amount of contracts. I don't want to lose any contracts. It's lack of communication is usually, it's like a breakup. You're not communicating on the same wavelength. So it's like, find that right point with your customer and plan those follow-ups and really be involved with your customer. When they call you, answer your phone. And if not, get back to them within 24 hours. It's important. Very important.
Love that. Thank you so much for that. And I hope that those who are listening in pay attention to that. And as always, if you heard something on the episode today, please, please, please take action, because it's not until you take that action that you're going to be able to see the results and continue to realize those hopes and dreams that you have for yourself. And if you heard something today, you're like, you know what, I know this guy or this gal, I know this friend, somebody that could, really, really benefit from what was talked about today, share the podcast with them. Let's spread as much value to as many people as we possibly can. Well, it's been a great pleasure. Again, thank you, Korey. It's been great learning about you and your company. And that concludes this episode of the 7-Figure Journey podcast. Until next time, guys, take care.